God, it's so cold lately. Maybe I shouldn't be drinking Coke. Sup y'all? Welcome to channel Zerovsky Crystal here. Apologizing for the regrettable state of the nail nation. Jank as fudge, I know. But this atrocity will get better, I promise, via the magic of editing and hollow. Now, I've been annoying before, sorry again. Feel free to mute me and replace with the tunes of your choice, no worries. Views are views, Zarovsky's art awareness is awareness. And speaking of awareness, this is my first commission outside of friends and family. A rather kind individual saw my work at Galeria de las Islas Intramuros and reached out via Facebook. This dude was starting a collection and I was lucky enough to catch his attention. So I've put my exhibition showpieces on hold for this exclusive commission. So excited and very fortunate to have been given majority of creative control. Lucky indeed. Lucky and anxious. Like any greenhorn, I'm nervous to what the client would think. What if they didn't want it, so on and so forth. But I don't know, could always make something else or something more pleasing to their wishes. No harm, no foul. Feel like I'm both understandably anxious and anxious over nothing, you know? Anywho, client wanted an 8.5 by 11-inch piece. Portrait orientation, that's vertical, not horizontal or landscape. Portrait orientation, board. We had a little back and forth like any plans in mind, would they like it framed, etc. I recommend framing it because illustration board tends to warp over time, but that could add to the budget. They gave it a pass since they'll be the one to frame it, so the collection would be uniform. We discussed added expenses of having more colors in black and white, what have you, but in the end, this righteous individual gave me free creative reign. They just knew they wanted it 8.5 by 11 inches, abstract, portrait orientation, and the palette lifted off of my previous work, Nuclear. Nuclear itself was an interpretation of a Van Gogh, which was an interpretation of Hiroshige's woodblock print of a plum orchard. The plum orchard at Kameido, but Nuclear's palette is mine. Meanwhile, another reference piece had to be used. Hokusai's Great Wave off Kanagawa inspired the movement of waves in Eye of the Moon, how the foam breaks, how the water rushes, or quote unquote puddles appearing on the surface while the froth leaves it behind. One of my many flaws as an artist is choosing the palette, the set of colors for a piece. However, Eye of the Moon doesn't suffer as badly, owing its harmonious combination to its predecessor, Nuclear, from which the colors are taken from per the client's request. With the background being board, first medium comes to mind is poster paint. So Eye of the Moon is made of poster paint. Mostly. Some acrylic colors had to be utilized because of several reasons. Basically, what do I have and what don't I have? I owned a set of metallic poster paints, golds, coppers, silver. 6 pots fused in a row. Sargent Art, American made. I chanced upon it at a national bookstore years ago. Now, I don't know if they even sell it in this country anymore. Hiccup. None of Silva, stranger. Remedied by acrylic paint. Another thing that acrylic remedied was the lack of other metallic and iridescence in poster paints, at least the ones in my area. We got black, we got pink, other colors of metallic slash iridescent, not much. So, creative command, huh? I was like, what do I do? What do I do? I reread our chat log over and over again because the anxiety and I really didn't want to fudge it up. My first concept was this character portrait or something like a flash design for a tattoo, but I reread the chat. Oh, abstract, right. But this idea of this pink girl was already glued to my head. I thought about it for a while, and the vision came to that of a mermaid. I had to stare at Nuclear over and again, like what colors would be what. Then the image began to piece together, elements started falling into place. A purple sky full of stars, but the sun's there. Quite low key surreal, even the moon's faces are present in the frame. I feel I really can't help myself from having those Art Nouveau tendencies, like the flow of curls or the presence of a stencil frame. It's as if Art Nouveau is so ingrained into my art that there's no totally escaping from it. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't think I've talked about it at length before, my artistic process. It starts with an idea, notes and scribbles written down, what pigments, what elements are going to be in it, what medium, what surface. Since this is a commission, some of those questions are already answered for me. The freaking dogs are barking again. Then, once the concept seems clear, though, I draw the study. It's not only practice but gives a sense of overall clarity. I think why a lot of paintings of mine suck color wise is because I never color my sketches, my game plan. But I swatch colors though. I observe how they react with primer, see how they dry on the surface that I'm using. But because this is an illustration board, I didn't need to prime it after I cut it. First commission, tried to be as professional as possible, bought the good stuff. High quality Nielsen Bainbridge illustration board made in the US of A. The study gets transferred by hand to the board. Hmm. Y'all know how I love that process. Then I mix for the paints I don't readily have, like the massive amount of periwinkle I needed. Base periwinkle that I can make lighter or darker as needed. Then paint dry, recording all the while. Signed, sealed, delivered, it's yours. Well, about to be. After finishing touches like retouches or touch ups, color correction, and effects like iridescent detailing for that extra sparkle, give them the old razzle dazzle. Speaking of sparkle and shine, I was kind of debating over inlaying colored foil. I usually love the effect it has, but I feel it would have made the painting tacky or too extra. Hot pink foil specifically on the mermaid tattoos and maybe some of her tail scales. I decided against it. As I was painting, at the back of my mind was, hey, maybe the wave should be aquamarine or emerald or some shade of lime or mint. And I'm like, no, nuclear had periwinkle in it. Waves stay periwinkle. Also, while painting, I knew the star spangled sky was to be red violet, but it looked too flat to me. So I took some different quadrants divided by the frame and painted those different shades of purple, some form of gradation in the heavens. Another thing I noticed with my paintings is the presence of a very specific sun, a Philippine sun similar to the one in our flag. I chalk it up to coincidence since I sure didn't plan some kind of overarching thematic symbology in my paintings. Not consciously, at least. I ain't smart enough for that. Am I? Anyway, speaking of heavenly bodies, the stars in the study were intentionally in rows, explicitly organized and sized the same. Changed my mind. The scatter and uneven sizes had more charm, I feel. I got a lot of recording out of this, but some parts like painting the hair I wanted to record but couldn't. Either I needed to focus or the camera was somewhat distracting and or the board was at a weird angle I needed to reach and couldn't position the tripod properly. So I tried to remedy this by squeezing in as much of the finishing touches as I could. Vlog time, totally not painting related, but whatever. Content. I tweeted my dad fixing a light. Jesus, I felt like his balancing act stacking ladders finna give me an aneurysm. And he's the one 30 years older than me plus arthritis. God, am I a wuss. It's also been raining on and off around here. More days on than off. So forgive the background noise as usual. Okay, I lied. Back to art. How does one pronounce Van Gogh? Van Gogh, Van Gogh, Van Gogh? Who knows? Like, forget the paintings. Clearly, the name's pronunciation takes priority. End of sarcasm. And I probably asked this already, but is poster paint basically gouache? I don't know. Probably will. Eventually. Who knows? I really miss oil painting though, but I am stumped for the November show. Tell you what. Also, sort of maybe somewhat related to painting, I've recently been hooked on Hellraiser and other Reddit channels lately. Real or not, these stories are entertaining. If I ain't listening to music, Night Vale, or any other video slash podcast, you can betcha bottom dollar I'm listening to Reddit. Let's not meet being one of the more thrilling categories. The only other thing I do is Team Fortress 2. So far, the only online game I play, not counting Borderlands with friends. And even that's a rarity. 200 plus hours and I still suck at sniper, but I am trying to improve. Like I'm aight with enemy snipers, assuming they're not swarming me, but other classes, killing other classes, I'm a lost cause, kid. And does anybody else adore dealing with annoying squeakers? Thank God for the freaking mute button. I'm particularly enamored with the argument you're only gaming for the attention, or you can't reference so and so because you never played the game. So, what are they gonna do about it? Whine to their ma? I love JoJo, but I don't go about policing normies on the meme game. And yes, out of all the video games to play for randos' attention, not Fortnite, not Overwatch, not even PUBG, CSGO, or COD, it had to be TF2. Usually, I prefer single player narratives for story, character, art, etc. But apparently, when I do solo dives into obscure indie games, it is simply for the dick. Never mind my happiness via gameplay, enjoyment of exploration, or the fact that I'm in a serious relationship. And what is going on with them unusuals and crates? The crate depression, they call it, the crate depression. I didn't buy a key cause priorities, and still I get no cheater's lament. Where's our hat, Valve? Oh, speaking of JoJo, Golden Wind just finished! Bellissima! It was epic. For sake of spoilers, I shan't mention details. But my favorite moment can be summed up in one word: car! And speaking of words and notes and sounds out of your mouth, side notes or things to add to the new YouTuber tag vid, y'all is what I call the general audience. Crystal Cult is what I collectively call subscribers, and Crystallite is an individual subscriber. New word, Crystallite with a K. Kristallite. Crystallite. Also, I've been told I got an accent. Who hasn't? It's just that it's not either the really thick Pinoy accent, ma'am, sir, mader, pader, character. Nothing wrong with that. Or the forced Konyo accent, which is like Valley Girl but Pinoy. I am me. The only me is me. Are you sure the only you is you? And with that, I'm head off. The entire Eye of the Moon project documentation's in my Behance. Help me keep Channel Zarobsky free now and forever by donating to my coffee or buying merch from Redbubble. It really helps. Truly. Links below. I've been Zarobsky Crystal saying subscribe to get crystallized and ciao for now. Arrivederci.